Am I the a-hole for refusing to talk to my parents until they give me an honest answer to my question? I, 17 male, live with my parents and my younger siblings. We were very close until recently. My first mom died when I was 6 days old. She developed eclampsia in late stages of the pregnancy with me and she never recovered from it. A few weeks later, my dad packed up and moved with me because he couldn't stay where they were planning a life together. This left her family behind. She has parents, siblings, nieces and nephews, aunts, uncles and cousins who were always a very tight-knit family. My dad met my adoptive mom when I was 7 months old. Out of insecurity on my mom's part and a desire to forget the future he had planned with my mom, contact between my biological maternal side was limited to once a year. My mom didn't want to share the role of mom. She knew my family would want to talk about my mom around me and would want me to know that she existed. But she didn't want to feel like she was less of a true mom. And my dad has just never gotten over the pain of losing my mom, and he buries the past and her to cope. I don't fully understand why they couldn't put me first in that decision, but they didn't. My childhood was mostly happy. It had some negatives like wishing I knew my family better or had known my mom. Also, I wasn't accepted by my adopted mom's family, so that was always fun. Then I had more contact with my family. It started with texting, calling and Zoom calls regularly, and then convincing my dad to let me go for a weekend here and there. He and my mom did not like it, and the decision confused my siblings too. I have loved getting to know them, and they have loved getting to know me. Grandparents' rights weren't an option for them because of that one visit a year. So seeing me more is huge for them. My parents really started to let me know how much they disliked all this extra contact. My dad said it's painful, and my mom told me she feels less important because I am chasing a relationship that ties to a mom. I don't remember. A couple of weeks ago they told me I should think of them and my mom's feelings. I asked them how they would feel if they were in my mom's shoes or her family's shoes. If they died while their child was just a baby and they were erased by their spouse and his new spouse, would they be okay with that? And would they be okay if my siblings or I died with a newborn and they never got to be a real part of their lives? They refused to answer. I told them I didn't want to speak until they gave me an answer because they were being totally unfair to me. My parents are angry about this, and my siblings asked me why I had to make this such a big deal. So I posed the question, if one of us died and we never got to see their only child, would they be okay with that? It helped them to understand, but my parents don't like my no talking thing, but all they want to talk about is this topic. And they also won't give me an answer. Am I the a-hole for offering to sell my seat to honeymooners? I was flying from Melbourne to Dubai. I paid for a premium economy seat because it is a 14-hour flight and I want to be comfortable. The person in the next seat had been upgraded and they asked if I could switch seat with their wife as they had just gotten married and were on their honeymoon. I congratulated him on his nuptials and asked where his wife was sitting. He pointed towards the back of the plane. In economy. I declined to switch seats. He asked if there was any way to convince me. I offered to switch if he paid the difference between the seats. It is a goodly amount. I had been lucky to get mine at a decent price. It would only have cost him $1,000 Australian dollars. He said that they were on a budget for their honeymoon. I congratulated once again and put in my earbuds. He muttered that I was an asshole. I said he was a prick for taking the upgrade instead of either sitting with his wife or giving it to her. I told my wife about the incident and she thinks I should have done the nice thing. For the record, she hates flying in economy, so I know she would not have switched. Am I the a-hole for not punishing my daughter for what she said? My husband and I are slightly more well off than my sister's family. Because of this, my parents do more for them than they do us. When it comes to gifts, my daughter Maddie 7 get things from the dollar store while my nephews get whole Lego sets, iPads and even Disney trips. If my sister needs babysitting, they will drop everything for her last minute. If I need it, I have to give them a 2 weeks heads up as well as proper payment. Because of this clear favoritism, my daughter doesn't have a good relationship with them. If you ask her about her grandparents, her mind automatically goes to my husband's parents because she forgets that she has two pairs. Earlier today, having a rare meet up with my parents, my daughter asked if she can go on the trampoline outside. My dad said no because it's for my nephews. My daughter begged, but dad still said no. Maddie then stomps away and said, "This is why I like other grandma and grandpa more." My parents looked at me expectantly, but I didn't do anything. I recently got off a call with my mom saying I should have told Maddie that was wrong to say. I told her, what do you expect? She thinks you'll hate her and you'll do nothing to dispel those thoughts. She just got quiet for a bit, then said, I still shouldn't let her say something like that to family, and hung up. My husband is on my side, but he also isn't a fan of my family, so I need an outside opinion. Am I the a-hole? Edit. To make some of you feel better, we don't bring her around them often. She only sees them on holidays with the rest of our extended family. We were only visiting today to get something on was left in a will. As for babysitting, I have only asked twice in extreme emergencies and they said no. I have talked to them about this, that they say it's not favoritism. She just needs less help because we are better off. Update. Just got off the phone with my uncle. Apparently dad called him ranting about how disrespectful we are. Apparently this all stems from me going to college. Dad said since I had to be all hoity-toity and go to college, I shouldn't need his help and I should be living the easy life. He also said I'm selfish for trying to take help away from those who need it. Not sure what to think about all that. He's never brought up having a problem with that before. I'm going to discuss this with the rest of the family because with the holidays approaching, I don't want to cut everybody else out to avoid them, so I'm going to ask how they feel about all this. Am I the a-hole for telling a girl she's ugly in front of her coworkers? I have a friend who's obsessed with beauty, by which I mean bone structures, lip width, and other anatomical stuff. She spends a lot of time on those weird groups where they analyze celebrities' facial features. They think that most are mid LOL. Anyway, it's weird, but I don't mind that. I mean, I read Simpsons fan theories and look for clues when watching the show later. My point is that some people have strange obsessions, and it's okay as long as they're healthy. Sadly, her obsession isn't healthy, in my opinion. Sometimes, when we hung out, she would bring her cousin, who's objectively pretty. She got a modeling offer without even stepping into a modeling agency. She's nice, so I didn't mind, but then my friend started comparing us, which is super random. I mean, she's skinny, has dark blonde hair and blue eyes, and I'm overweight, with black, curly hair. And overall, we are completely opposite. So my friend would tell her cousin how pretty she is and how she's jealous of her getting this modeling contract. She was talking about how beautiful her body is and would ask me to confirm. For example, her face structure is superb. Do you agree? No wonder she's a model, right? I mean, she is pretty, but like, who cares? I just don't get why it's important. Now that's the part where I got angry. She would also often say things to me like your face is so fat and your boobs are way too big, or your nose is weird. Well, you get it. The one she said that I look like a used 30-year-old, which is old according to her. Used? I asked. And she said, yeah, you look like a 30-year-old woman who drinks and sleeps around a lot. You know, used. I can't believe you're actually so modest and don't drink. It doesn't look like that at all. Then she laughed super loudly like it's a really funny joke. Now this kind of thing happened a few times, but it was way less extreme. This time it was not only unhinged, but also in front of a group of people, most of which are her coworkers and her cousin. Now that's where I might have crossed the line. I said she might be analyzing all of those faces, but it doesn't change the fact that she's ugly. She looks like sad horse, and in order to change that she would need plastic surgery. Lots of it. At least I can improve my face with makeup. She can't. Honestly, I felt guilty immediately, and some of the people in the group later said I should have let her have it because she's just some girl from a village who doesn't always know boundaries. I mean, I get that, but it's time to learn those boundaries because being this clueless is crazy. It's not being brutally honest, it's just being brutal. I know that she's the asshole, but am I? Maybe I shouldn't get on her level and be the bigger person. Edit. My beauty-obsessed friend kept critiquing my looks and comparing me to her model cousin till one day I snapped by saying she looks like a horse, and it made her sad. Am I the a-hole for refusing to pay my child's stepmother to babysit them? Okay, so before I start, I should say that my son is 5. And only in the past 3 to 6 months has the father and his partner been consistent in his life. Anyway, my son's father sees him for 2 nights every fortnight. He picks him up late Friday night and drops him off early Sunday morning every 2 weeks. Now, when he first started being consistent, I would offer money to make sure my son was fed and safe. I only did this because for the last 5 years he would give excuses of I have no money to feed him, or I have no petrol. My son adores his dad, so I offered the money so that he had no excuse not to spend time with our son. After about the 3rd time of being consistent, his dad said, you don't need to offer me money anymore. I'm working full-time and want to step up more. I didn't ask for child support. I never have. Everything my son has, all his toys, all his clothes, all his school stuff, every experience is had, I have paid for, and I am proud of that fact. Fast forward to a month ago, and I received a message from my son's stepmom. They aren't married but have been together for 3 years, have a child together and are engaged, so it's easier to describe her as stepmom. The message had said that it isn't financially fair on them to have to pay for things my son wants when with them. She has asked for $100 a night, so $200 a fortnight, to pay for his food, clothes, anywhere they go and any toys he wants when with them. I responded with, if he wants a toy when with you, either you or his father can message me and I will happily transfer the money to one of you, as long as the toy comes home with him. She said it was irresponsible parenting on my behalf for not wanting my son to have nice clothes and toys when at his dad's house, and that anything bought with them should stay with them. I agreed and said anything they buy for him should stay. She then made a big deal and posted on social media about how I'm a bad mother and refused to take financial responsibility for my son. I screenshot it and sent it to his father and explained the situation to him. He apologized and said he had no idea. She then messaged me accusing me of trying to break up their relationship because I am a jealous ex and that she doesn't think it's right that she should have to babysit my child for free. I said that's fine. If my son isn't seen as part of your family and is just a child being babysat, then maybe the custody situation should be revised. I know it's harsh because I don't blame my son's dad. I'm just at such a loss and feel like a major asshole. Am I the asshole? Edit. Thank you to the helpful comments. I didn't put it into perspective of asking for child support as a way of advocating for my son's rights. I will be speaking to my social worker and asking for child support that will be put into a bank account for my son. Thank you.